Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Yay! So since this is my first ever video, let me introduce first myself. So my name is Sarah and my first ever video will be about thrift lifting or DIY transformation. And in this episode, I'm gonna show you on how I transformed this long sleeve top into this trendy ruche crop top. I really love clothes that has an animal print on it because it's so rare to find. So if you have one or you got one, then I really considered you lucky. What I got or what I have is kind of out of style, so I decided to transform it or thrift flip it into a trendy one. So I looked or searched some inspiration from Pinterest, and there I found this style, ruche crop top. So if you wanna know on how I did mine, keep on watching. So first thing I did, I marked 36 centimeters, which is my desired length of my top, plus 2 centimeters seam allowance. Then just connect the two marks to make a straight line as your guide before cutting. After cutting, set aside the extra fabric that you can still use for your future preferences. Next, for the sleeve, I measure 12 centimeters, which is my desired length of my sleeve, plus 2 centimeters seam allowance. Next, I put a mark in the middle and make a horizontal line as my guide as I cut this part of the top. So after cutting, as you can see, I just cut up a small triangle here in order to have a V-neck shaped top. Then, we can now sew this part. But first, we need to pin the fabric so it stays everything in place as we are going to use hand stitch. After pinning them all, we can now proceed to our stitching. We are now done stitching our neckline. Next is to make a tunnel for our drawstring in order to make a ruche style top. Simply turn the top inside out and make a 2 cm mark both sides for your guidelines before stitching. Now gather these two sides and align it for pinning. Now you can stitch this part where you make your marking earlier. After stitching it, it will look like this. This is how it looks like in the outside part. And this is how it looks like in the inside. Next thing to do is to make a tunnel here for our adjustable drawstring. Simply fold this twice and make sure to leave a space where drawstring can fit that will be inserted later. And again, pin it first to make sure everything stays in place before stitching. Then you can now stitch this both sides. And after stitching it, the result will be like this. And after that, I set aside it and proceed in making the drawstring using the extra fabric that we got in our sleeve earlier. Making the drawstring, simply make a 3 pieces rectangle with a 3 cm width and 30 cm length. that you have these 3 pieces rectangle, simply connect these 3 in order to have a total of 90 centimeters long rectangle. Now that we have this, simply fold the raw edges toward the center fold and fold again the half like this. And pin the fabric so it stays everything in place. After pinning everything, it is now ready to stitch. You already have a drawstring. And now it's time to hem the bottom of the top. Fold the fabric and pin them all. When you are done pinning, stitch along the top. So after stitching this part, I cut a 2 small hole here on where we are going to insert our drawstring. After that, I used a hairpin to put the tie to go inside one fabric hole from the end to top, then going down to another fabric hole from the top to another end. Lastly is to make a hem at the bottom part of the sleeves. Simply fold the fabric and pin them all around. When you are done pinning, stitch along the sleeves. Finally finish it, do the same to the other side, then we are done. Here is the result of our DIY ruche crop top.